Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Beth Local Schools work session on May 5th, 2021 at 5:39 p.m. Mr. Wanamaker, could you call the roll, please?
Yes. Mrs. Reese.
Present.
Mrs. Sebastian.
Here.
Mr. Elam.
Here.
Mrs. Mansfield.
Here.
And Mr. King.
I'm here. All right. Additions to the agenda. Looks like we had addition to supplemental positions for the JV girls basketball coach. Any other items that we know of?
Not at this time. We just added that, I think today, because we received a pupil activity permit from the OHSAA, ODE, and also a resume. So that's why it's a late addition.
Okay. Just for clarification on these items that are on the agenda, is there anything that we'll be voting on tonight, or just reviewing for the board meeting for next week? Right.
Nope. All reviews.
Okay. Excellent. And we'll move forward to item 4 then, important dates for the district.
The senior's last day is the 24th, not the 25th.
Get that fixed.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Looks like we're going to maintain an extremely busy calendar with many events leading up to the end of the school year and graduation, except for updating the senior's last day date. So does anyone see any other items that need to be updated or changed? Okay. All right, next would be then treasurer's items requesting board action. It looks like A through E and F are review of meeting minutes. Mr. Wanamaker, would you like to discuss your items?
I will try to. Yes, the first group is just the meetings that were held last month. I've tried to get everything in here as best I could based on not really knowing how some of the things were done before. I think I've got them now so that everything is loaded so that you can see it as far as A, the payment of bills, and B, all of the financial reports are in there. Now, I cannot give you a major description on them because that was all occurring before I was here, and I really don't know some of the ins and outs of what was in there. I didn't get a chance to really dig back into it. But if you have questions, I will gladly do some digging and get you answers for them if at all possible. The only other thing at the very end, we have some donations. I believe we have 2 donations. One was from Rick and Diana Gilbert. It was a clarinet for the Bethel band. And then from Brian Dills, a large group of office and personal cleaning supplies for the elementary building, and the listing is there as to what he is giving the school. So that's really most of what I have. So at this point, I'm a little bit too new to know what else I need to tell you.
All right, thank you, sir. Does any of the board members have any questions for Mr. Wanamaker?
Jacob, my only question for Mr. Wanamaker would be what his plan is to present and give the 5-year forecast.
Okay, I've given started giving the information to Forecast 5 to work on it, and it's in process right now. Now, state code says we have to have it filed by May 31st. However, board approval is not required until can be done actually in June. That doesn't affect it. It's just the filing that's required. But it's hoped that we'll have it done well early, but I don't think it will be done for the next board meeting.
Yeah, and sir, that's fine. And we're willing to, if we need to have a special meeting just to approve that prior to the end of May, if that's what you would like, then just let us know and we can get that scheduled as soon as possible.
Okay, like I said, it's not technically required. It's nice to have it signed off on so everyone's comfortable. However, we'll look at it as we get along. If there's any questions, I'll try to get it out to everyone as soon as it's available. So you can look over it. If there's any questions, we can go forward from there.
Okay, yeah, thank you. And we're just looking, we'll look to you for your advice on how you wanted to proceed with that. So I just wanted to let you know that option was available if you so choose to utilize it, or you just wanted to wait till the June meeting. So,
Okay, thank you.
yes, sir. All right. Does anyone have any other questions? All right. Then we can, any other information from the treasurer you would like to advise us of?
Nothing at this point. I'm just still getting my feet wet trying to find everything. So hopefully in the next couple of weeks we'll be much smoother going.
All right. Yeah, that's completely understandable. And we appreciate all the hard work you've put in so far to get up to speed and to assist us during this transition time. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. Next, we'll be moving on to superintendent's items requesting board action.
Letter A is a frequent visitor to our board agendas. It's an update of the substitute teacher list as approved by the Miami County Educational Service Center. It's for the 2021 school year. Just a reminder, we have to update it every time a substitute teacher either gets added or deleted from the list. Letter B is review of one-year limited contract for certified or certificated staff. These will be new positions to the district this year. The first is Mrs. Brooke Hoblitt. She will be teaming up with Mrs. Julie Lawson in the elementary and serving as an elementary reading specialist. I feel like we're fairly fortunate to get Mrs. Hoblitt to join our staff. She's actually currently serving as an assistant principal at Graham Elementary, has young children and has expressed interest to get back into the classroom. Prior to her assistant principal experience, she served as a first and second grade teacher at National Trail for about 10 years, and also currently instructs educational courses at Wright State University, dealing with K-12 reading, also just diverse literature reading and early childhood education writing methods. So very unique skill set that she brings and will bring to a new position in the district to continue to work with our students, both ELL students and also traditional students, as far as preparation for the third grade reading guarantee test. And a resume is attached as well. Second teacher is Mrs. Caitlin Williams, Katie. She currently serves in our district as an aide for our English language learner students through the ESC. Once again, experienced in Bethel, feel fortunate to be able to bring her on to our staff in a teaching position role. For all these folks, you can see where they're at education-wise, step, and also salary. And so similar to some of our previous hires with Mrs. Dirks and also Mr. Goulet, we're adding an ESC employee who was housed here in our district and bringing them on as a teaching position staff, which is good. You can see her credentials as well. And then finally, Mr. Scott Mintz. As we've grown, we've added additional positions. Middle school physical education is a position that we've added so that we now have a physical education teacher in each of the buildings. Mr. Mintz is a recent graduate of Wright State University. He does have 1 year's worth of credit service because he spent this year as a long-term sub in New Lebanon local schools at Dixie High School. So he's worked not only at the middle school level, but also at the elementary level. So his resume is attached as well. Letter C is review contract notice for classified staff. Those folks are listed as well. We have a number of individuals that will be receiving contract extensions, from secretaries to maintenance staff to assistant technology, bus drivers, custodians, some of our healthcare clinicians, kitchen aides, etc. So those folks are listed as well. Letter D is a review of resignation of a classified employee. Unfortunately, we are losing one of our custodians, Mrs. Lauren Clute. She has expressed concerns with having a young family and working on second shift. We're not in a time and a place where we're going to be able to add additional first shift positions. And so unfortunately, it's not going to work out for her moving forward with a second shift job and a transition from virtual education back to traditional schooling. So we are placing her resignation on the agenda for consideration. She will continue to work in the district through July 31st, 2021. So she'll be here throughout the summer and assist with summer cleaning as well. Letter E is review of classified staff. This will be a hiring replacement for Melissa Rhodes, custodial second shift, who resigned in the previous meeting. Once again, feel fortunate to be able to bring on an individual that has some experience and knowledge of Bethel Local Schools. She graduated from here. So she has obviously deep pride and care for the district, and lucky to have her come on in a second shift role. So you can see where she's at on the step and also hourly rate. Letter F is review of supplemental positions, fall, winter, excuse me, I should say, yeah, fall, winter for next school year, and also non-supplementals. I'm getting my school years mixed up. So that list is attached. It's pretty lengthy. As you recall, we did hire head coaches previously. For this agenda is essentially assistant coaches, volunteers, but it's also some of our non-sport supplementals as well. I've also attached resumes for new positions or new individuals to the district. Mr. Butch Wise, who was an assistant coach at Covington, who has Bethel ties, coming on board. One of our maintenance supervisors is going to serve as a volunteer junior high coach, Mr. Derek Goins. And then we have some other additional in executive file, those folks that will be coming on as well. Jeremy Lee, and then also Coach Johnson, who will be serving as JV coach also. Letter G is review of diploma issuances for the class of 2021. So those individuals that will be receiving a diploma are attached as well. We do still have a few kids that are still working through the process and are close. So they're coming down the wire to see if they make it or not. Letter H is a review of class fees. And so we broke them down by each of the buildings. Hopefully it was user-friendly enough for you guys to be able to kind of evaluate where the fees were from last year compared to this year. As you can see, all of the fees for elementary remain the same. We did have a couple of reductions. Second grade went down by $6. Fifth grade went down by $3. Middle school, you can see the 2020 versus 2021. Once again, it appears that most of the fees have stayed relatively consistent. You may have had to add a couple of new ones because of changes in electives. So there could be some changes where you see classes have dropped because of lack of participation or interest, and then also some additions as well. And then finally, high school. Once again, you can see where they're at with fees also compared to last school year also. So we did add geology for next year, so that's an additional fee as an elective. Art 1 did have a slight increase. Art 2 went down, Art 3 went down, Art 4 went down, life skills went down, and then web design and also game design went down as well. So we have a few reductions, which is good. Letter I is essentially our annual OHSAA, which is the Ohio High School Athletic Association board resolution, indicating that Bethel local schools at the high school and middle school level is going to participate in OHSAA interscholastic athletics for the 2021-22 school year. Every school throughout the state of Ohio that participates in OHSAA does this resolution annually. Letter J, trying to get things done quickly and ahead of time and early. You can see a review of ticket prices and also all sports prices. We are joining a new league next year, the TRC, the Three Rivers Conference. So our all varsity sports and non-varsity sports ticket prices are set by the bylaws of the TRC. So all schools that participate in the league will have the similar prices for adults, students, and senior citizens for varsity, and also middle school, freshman levels, et cetera. And then the pass options was something that we had talked about last year when Mr. Smith was hired. Unfortunately, we were unable to implement it because of COVID-19 and restricted ticket gates. So not sure if people will be interested in them, but it is an additional option. People don't have to purchase those, but they do have some additional options to take a look at to hopefully save them some money family-wise, especially if they attend a number of events. So that's on here as well for your guys' consideration. Letter K is the second resolution. We did the first last meeting. So last meeting, last month, we had a resolution to terminate the membership with Meta Solutions for the Internet. This is one to terminate the membership and join Wilco to continue with Progress Book, our financial software, and those kind of things. So it'll put us all under one house with Wilco. And they provided a little bit of information on them. So they do provide fiscal and HR support and software. They have library automation and resources for your library teachers. We still remain on the same student information system with Wilco. It's a continuance of Progress Book, which the staff is very familiar with. We still have the same EMIS reporting software that Mrs. Rhodes deals with. Technology department, we still have the same VoIP phone systems, housing the school servers, offsite backup, disaster recovery, website filtering, email archives, those kind of things. They still provide the internet connectivity and assistance with district networks. The interesting thing about Wilco compared to Meta is that they are much smaller, and because of that, the schools that are members of Wilco are actually owners of the ITC, and so therefore you have more input and direct say on the services that you receive. A couple of other things that Wilco kind of wanted to share with us that's going to be different from what Meta does is they actually, if your EMIS coordinator would have to go out for a long time leave, or you're short of a person because of a resignation, they actually provide somebody to come in and run your EMIS systems for you, which is great. They also offer the same thing for treasurer services. So if we would have been a member, we could have looked at them to have, because they have 3 or 4 former treasurers that now work for them as well. And so the idea will be when we transfer over to Wilco, internet will be immediately for next school year, but with the transition with all of the other Progress Book and IEP information and student data records, that's about a year-long process to change over. So we won't fully be under Wilco's umbrella for this particular resolution until next summer. That makes sense.
So we can keep our data.
Yeah, and it takes that long for them to transfer everything over. So that kind of gives you some updated information on the complete change from Meta to Wilco. And then letter L is a second reading for the Neola updates that were looked at last meeting. So that was pretty long. But we're getting a lot of stuff done this meeting.
You got nothing else.
Do you guys have any questions on anything that I provided?
For the hometown ticketing,
Yeah.
so I'm announcing this for fall, so do we know when people can start looking at buying their passes? Is there a payment plan, like that kind of stuff?
I think
don't remember any of that.
Yeah, the idea is as soon as if it gets approved at the May 10th meeting, he'll start rolling information out in regards to that. But with the ticketing, the folks that that purchase the traditional tickets and do not do the other options, they can still buy tickets at the gate.
Okay,
The hometown ticketing is just for the additional options that we're providing. So people can still do the online ticketing or they can buy at the gate. Now, just a friendly reminder, if you do the online ticketing, it does come with a ODA fee with it, which is similar to credit cards and those kind of things. So that's an unfortunate,
we're all used to that now.
yeah, I know, but it's an unfortunate negative to it. So,
Sure, for sure. I just can't remember about the passes. I feel like there was.
yeah, I would anticipate that he'll probably get things rolled out to people pretty soon, just so they have all summer to kind of figure out what they want to do as far as fall activities.
So but we don't know what the rules are gonna be for how many tickets you can buy or any of that yet. right?
No. Unfortunately, no.
Yeah, I got you. I have a question about the local,
Mhm.
we're done with that.
Yeah,
So this doesn't affect parents in any way?
Mm.
Okay,
No.
Just wanted to.
No, they're saying-
Yeah, so that-
yeah. Mostly the parents will use Progress Book to check their students' grades. That'll still be the same login and username. You know, the systems that the staff uses to implement grades, it's still the same. There's no changeover in that at all. Really, I don't think you'll see any difference because EMIS is the same, Progress Book is the same. We're just confident, having visited there and had meetings with technology department, EMIS, treasury department, superintendent's office, and speaking with them, that because they're much smaller, customer service will be better. And we'll alleviate some of our issues that we've had this year with firewall issues, internet connectivity, and those kind of things. Plus the work that we do this summer with replacing the wiring, and then again in the winter with the access points. I'm hoping that we're setting ourselves up for success moving forward with our infrastructure.
And so to the question, so all of this stuff that just got added, that's all in the price that, this is the original price?
The original price was just for the internet services. The other stuff is the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what about, like some sort of scanner or something for the files? It seems like we don't have that with the current company. You know,
Woco does offer that you can go digital with your files and you can scan them and save them into the cloud, if that's what you're asking about.
I'm just asking if it doesn't have to be in the cloud, I'm just asking if they have any kind of virus protection that we can,
They have firewall protection.
okay,
Is that what I'm not a tech
okay.
guru, so is that what you're talking about, firewall?
Yes, both actually.
Okay.
I mean, you mentioned the firewall, so.
Yeah.
You know, like if I send you a file in an email, external, and you receive that file, that could have something in it.
Okay,
So typically their system will scan to make sure there's no viruses in it.
okay,
And ours always says that's turned off.
all right, I can ask about
So
that. I'll ask.
that would come with
I wasn't aware of that. Ours, the school's turned off?
A lot of times it pops up and it says it's not available.
Okay, let me ask. So virus protection,
Yeah, virus scanning or virus
Or
protection.
encryption, Julie?
encryption from external emails?
Yeah.
Okay,
Just in general, just
Sure.
a general question.
okay. I will get an answer from Don Walls, who is their director of Woco, and then I'll send you guys an email out tomorrow, let you know what he says.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
I have a couple of comments. I want to go back to athletics for a minute. I think we have a pivotal moment here. We were used to doing everything digitally, no cash this year at the gate. And I really think there's an opportunity here to continue that if we make it so that the ticket prices are consistent, whether we buy online or at the gate. I think it's something, I'm not saying we have to do it, but I think it's worth considering because it's great controls not to have cash at the gate, in my opinion.
I would agree with that. I guess my only question would be with our current situation with athletics and the amount of revenue that we lost this year. Really, the only thing that's keeping our athletic department in the black is our catering dollars that we receive each year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a 3-year contract that ends next year. So just as a friendly reminder, the district receives $15,000 a year from catering for their athletic training services. They actually provide us a trainer for free, which is phenomenal. But if you take that $45,000 out over 3 years, your athletic department would be in the red. So I guess my statement to that would be, if you guys want to consider helping out with the administration fee, then I would ask that the district look at doing that and not the athletic department, because they won't have the money to be able to afford that.
I think people are used to that, and I think it would be, especially since ticket prices are gonna go up next year a bit.
Yeah,
If we can just absorb that fee, I don't know what others think about it, but you don't have cash problems if the tickets are all done online.
Yeah.
And I personally, I like that as a measure. I know it's not so great if people don't, haven't purchased them ahead of time, but you can get on your phone and purchase tickets, right?
correct. Yeah,
Everybody did
absolutely.
it this year.
Mhm.
I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
essentially
what
like when
others
you would go through Ticketmaster and you
Yep.
just scan your phone at the game or whatever, so. If that's something the district wants to look into, I'm not saying no, I'm just saying, I don't know if I can ask the athletic department to take on absorption of that fee with where they're at money wise right now.
And I understand that.
What kind of fee, I mean,
Yeah.
how much are we looking at?
Let's talk numbers first, right?
Yeah.
If I had to guess, I would say on a normal year, you're looking at probably, I hate to say numbers because I could be wrong, but maybe 15 to 20,000 for every sport and everything, every ticket.
Well, and I would say, I just think as long as we continue to utilize the electronic tickets as well as in-person tickets, and then move forward with that, I know we'd like to take away some of those fees, but we don't, if everybody is used to utilizing the fees, so we pay those same kind of fees when we're doing the school lunch or loading funds on there if we're utilizing our credit cards. And so I think we should try and see what is the use of it this next school year, as you could pay for the tickets yourself so that we could actually get a good understanding of what those costs would be, and then potentially look at trying to absorb some of those in the following year. That way, because if parents don't want to pay the fee, they'll be able to just buy the ticket now at the ticket window versus doing it electronically. And so we'll see how some may do it electronically, some will do in person, and see what our usage is my thoughts.
Yeah, or we could absorb the fees on people who do the pre-sale passes. There's always different ways you can do. Like, if you buy the tickets in advance, we pay the fees. If you pay at the gate, we don't. We can make compromises, right? A lot of different paths you can go if you look at the numbers and think it through.
And I hesitate to say that number because it may be way over. So I would have to, I probably should have said, let me speak with Mr. Smith before I give you a number, but I'm
We won't
anticipating.
hold you to it.
No.
I'm anticipating it'll probably be close to that if we do have a normal year where we can open it back up for anybody to come. If you think about every sport, I'm guessing it's probably, is it $1 per ticket?
Got paid more than that. per
Generally.
ticket.
So probably 15 to 20 is
I
probably
paid
not
at
gonna
least
be,
$1.50 on a lot of tickets this year.
that's for junior high and high school events. So,
So if they pay at the gate though, there won't be a fee.
No.
Right?
Correct.
So-
no, they'll have the option to
Right.
do the gate if they buy the additional pass options. That was going to be through hometown ticketing,
Gotcha.
and that would be an additional fee.
Well, if they do the pass options, I would think we would want to absorb those fees personally.
Okay.
Because otherwise.
That would be
Nobody's
significantly-
gonna buy a pass otherwise.
That would be significantly cheaper.
Yeah,
Especially if it's got a 25% fee attached.
right,
to it.
and usually there's a minimum. I
Pass.
think the reason we're getting docked $1 to a ticket is usually there's a minimum surcharge, so, if you, so I wouldn't think on
Yeah.
a $300 purchase, it would be $60.
Yeah, and the 15 to 20 number was for every purchase of every ticket. It's
Right.
not taking into account, that's a select few that will choose that option. So if everybody chooses it, great, but I don't think everybody will.
And then, the second, did anybody have any more comments on that topic?
Well, I like Jacob's approach of kind of tracking it, but how, is it easily trackable? Like, will we know how many were bought?
Yeah, we have, we keep essentially inventory of tickets sold. Yeah, absolutely. We have to do it for financial records, but we also just do it to know how many family passes we sold versus student passes to even see if it's something that we want to continue to do in the future.
Okay.
So,
Just so it's easily available, if you're gonna look
Yeah.
at that to analyze it. you can
yeah,
take it.
and the good thing about the hometown ticketing is it does all your end of game spreadsheets and even end of season stuff. So there's not manpower of tabulation where things get miscounted or dollars come up missing, or having worked ticket gates before, the gate never matches the tickets sold. It doesn't, it just doesn't happen. It's always off by a couple dollars. So with that, there is none of that.
Right.
It's just a scan of the ticket. So no human error involved. Somebody gives out an extra dollar worth of change or not enough dollars worth of change. Is how it always works.
Thing happens in stage production.
Yeah.
And I would imagine that Damon can check around and see what other folks are doing too.
Yeah.
How they're gonna do it next year.
Yeah. The good thing about the COVID was that a lot of folks districts wise went to this hometown ticketing. So he could send out a quick email of the 10 or 15 schools in the area and kind of what their plans are for next year.
I think it's a brilliant survey idea, just to see where we at, what are other people expecting
Sure.
as they go to other events. A lot of people travel to watch, so. Yeah.
I can't speak to the new league, but the previous league that we were in, we did do a survey, and I think only one other district in the CCC even had additional ticket options. It was all you had to buy, just the 7 or 5 or 6 or 4, whatever it was.
Sure.
So,
Sure.
and maybe it's because they tried it and it didn't go over well, and maybe it's been tried here before and didn't go over well, but
I just kind of want to know.
we'll try it. If it
who's
doesn't
keeping
work, it
presale.
doesn't work. It's really not anything off of us. We're just trying to give more opportunities for people to hopefully go to a lot of events and not pay full price.
Absolutely. But I think some people will keep digital presale, and I think some will do digital at the gate.
Probably.
So I'd like to see what that's gonna look like next year.
Okay. It makes lines go a lot quicker.
Yeah.
But a great option too for them to purchase it with a debit card themselves versus us having to take debit card at the gate. So, which we can't at the moment. Doesn't mean we can't in the future, but it's a good fill gap, I think, for us, a gap filler until we have all that available. That, well, you log into the tickets, you can buy it with your debit card or credit card. So, makes it easy.
Barcode there that takes them straight to hometown tickets if they want to buy it online themselves with their debit card. It'd be easy.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna change the topic, a couple personnel issues. I just like to say thank you to Lauren Clute for her service. I know the pandemic affected everybody differently, and especially women, and I really appreciate her stepping forward and working for a year. I know it's a tough shift, second shift, but it worked for a year, and thank her and thank Kate for coming in and filling the previous resignation. And then was looking through the assistant coaches for football and girls basketball, and some wonderful talent there. So a lot of experience, and I'm happy to see that. So welcome.
All right. Does any of the others have questions or discussion on any of the topics from the superintendent? Okay. As we move forward under Justin, is there anything additional you would have under information from the superintendent at this time?
The only thing that I would add would be, if you notice on our supplemental spreadsheet, we still had a couple of slots that were open. We're still recruiting people or receiving some information from new candidates, meaning like a pupil activity permit or a resume. There may be some additions that we have for the 10th, but we'll send an email to you guys letting you know that there's an update to it. Is that going to be a problem?
Could anything that gets added be put in like a red or a different color?
Sure.
So we know, because
Yep.
it's awfully hard for me to remember.
Yeah.
When you see a list of 30 names.
Yep, it's a good idea. I'll have Della put things in red that are changes from the work session
That would
to.
be awesome.
Okay.
Or whatever color you
And at
think.
least kind of clustered together in one spot.
Yeah, I mean, you see on there, there's a couple of Saturday, we might have a staff member who decides to do Saturday school or some of those other things. And we still have a couple of coaching
Coaches that don't
positions
have yet.
that we're waiting on. We need to hire JD girls basketball. We have somebody who's lined up. They're waiting on their PAP from the ODE. So if we get that in the next couple of days, it may be added to the agenda.
Okay.
So I'll put it in red.
All right, sounds great. Under items for the board.
I just have a question, I'm sorry, Justin, I didn't ask you this in advance. I just noticed when I was sending out the email for the agenda for the facilities committee that Todd has been added, Damon has been added to the email group list.
Okay.
Do you want them on the facilities committee?
I wasn't aware they were on the email list.
Okay.
Was not aware of that. Is that because of the football stadium project?
I mean, it's
Okay.
fine to be on there. When we had originally set the facilities committee up, we always said that those people would come and go from the
Okay.
committee as they were needed.
I guess I
I
never
didn't
checked
know.
the distribution list of who was on it.
It just pops out.
Okay.
And I think Brian's still on there, but I think we already removed him. If you want him on, if you want them to be actually on the facilities committee, then we just need the president
No, I don't.
to appoint them.
No, I think with the football stadium, Mr. Smith should continue to be involved, and probably Mr. Bird on both, because as a maintenance supervisor, he's going to have some significant input on different things. I mean, I know he's been involved in discussions about HVAC systems and those kind of
Right, and
things.
that's fine. That's why I said we had, I think originally, wasn't Jimmy and
I think we should honestly appoint Todd to the committee because, I mean, facilities, that's his,
Yeah.
that's his realm. Damon can come and go and be copied on the necessary stuff, but I do think Todd should probably be appointed too.
I'm okay with it, but then do they want to come to the meetings? I mean, I didn't know if they're just on there for information. I'm fine with that too. I just happened to notice they were on there Monday.
We can always include them on the emails for informational purposes, and
Yeah.
then offer them to be at as many or as few of the meetings as they want.
Sounds good.
But it seems like Todd's been coming to a lot of facility meetings anyways. So if that works for the group, I can offer them to be a part of it and come to the meetings.
Yeah, maybe ask them and then
Okay.
at the next meeting, we can always appoint them.
Okay,
But they just have to.
sure.
And then Justin, while we've got everybody here, did you want to talk through Laura's request?
Yeah, I mean, she had talked, as we've had discussions with the football stadium, like any project, they always come in over budget. It's just how it is, and especially the way things are now with the price of construction goods and services and labor. So taking a look at, they're starting to get in their early numbers as far as estimates of what things are going to cost. Now, I remind you, it hasn't gone out to bid yet for things, but just kind of where their current projects are falling in line. And they want to be able to take a look of what the dollar amount that's currently allocated and kind of what the early projections are showing the project coming in at. Where are some areas that maybe we can phase out or prioritize, I guess is a better list, or turn those into alternates where you wait until the final numbers come in, and as the dollar amounts line up, then you add those as, okay, here's where our priorities are. Here's our 10 list of alternates. What's the most significant that we want to include in the project, which is common to do. So, but she also wants to have a discussion with facilities group, because those are significant decisions that need to be made, and it shouldn't be one person making those decisions. But I don't know how long that conversation is going to last either. So I don't know if it can get done in an hour meeting. I don't know.
Well, I suggested one of two things. We have a 3 p.m. core meeting we could extend and then summarize at the 6 p.m. meeting, or we could move the 6 p.m. meeting back to 5 if we thought we needed more time. I mean, I'm open. I just threw that out there. I don't know what the other board members think.
And that works for me. I guess trying to work with everyone's schedule of when they're available. So I guess now would be a good time more than ever to kind of share what thoughts are as far as availability. And if the extension of 3 o'clock or adding an additional hour to facilities. But if, just that may be the only topic we talk about during the facilities meeting. So I don't know how long it's going to last.
Do we have, well, let me ask you this. Do we have other things we need to talk about at the facilities meeting?
I mean, I can give a brief update on, the trees have been removed. They're currently taking out asbestos windows in the house. the farmhouse has gone through. I know there was some comments on social media about smoke and fire trucks going to the house, but that was safety. They were doing training. So they're going to get ready to remove the house probably in the next week. And I think the barn company's coming in the next week or two to take the barns down too.
So it sounds like those are pretty known updates, what you're gonna tell us. So the bulk of our time used to be
The
spent.
bulk of your time needs to be looking at the budget so they kind of know which direction to go into. I can give you some brief updates on electricity. We're in a unique situation with Pioneer and also DPNL.
Right.
And trying to get that. Also the water line down 201. We've had some discussions on that too. So but those are just brief updates. I can do that.
Or you can always push those back a month if we need to.
Okay.
If the budget really is probably approved, at least in my opinion.
It's the biggest thing that you have to do. That's the key to the next steps for Governor Miller to know which direction to go in. So,
You just threw all these updates out in 1 minute.
Right.
So,
but these are still continued meetings. So we're still talking about the water line with the county, and we're still talking with Pioneer. So we've had good news. It's going to be a lot less to do than we thought, money wise. So that's good. But the budget's over, so that's bad news.
So you'll find a place to spend those savings already.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I guess you guys tell me what works best for you with schedules. If you would want to extend a core meeting or add an hour on to the facilities meeting.
We can get more people in the facilities, right? Like Jacob and I for sure won't be at the core meeting.
Yeah.
Nor will Andy. I mean, you're going to do
Oh, yeah, that's right. Not me either. That's right. Cool.
Well, the question I guess becomes how much in detail are we gonna be able to get in any meeting? I mean, because at some point, we don't have 8 hours to hash through everything.
That's what I mean. It depends on how in depth you get on every single option. They may come with 15 options that you look at of what's your priority of what needs done. You know, is that going to turn into an hour discussion on every item?
Is that their style though? I feel like they kind of come to us with, this is sort of what we think you need to do.
Sure seems
This is
that.
our top 2 recommendations. What do you
They'll-
think?
they'll
Like,
do
it
that.
Seems to be,
But
I
it may not be popular with all the
then we
members.
tweak, I know,
So
we do tend to tweak, but we can tweak in 2 hours.
Can they do anything and then send the information?
they're going to give you the budgets ahead of time. You'll have it ahead of time, and they'll have some things listed as far as what you could do and the dollars amount that it'll save. And then you basically take your grocery list and start picking what you want.
Well, I would like to have this Friday if we've got a Monday meeting, because I mean, I can't,
It'll be a 1-page document, but yeah, you can have it Friday.
I mean, I don't want to come in Monday and look at something with a lot of numbers that I haven't looked at.
I could probably have it to you tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, just so we have it Friday, I mean, will that give everybody enough time to look at it over the weekend?
Yes.
And then do we want to start the meeting at 5 so we
Yeah.
have plenty of time?
You know.
You do that, Jacob?
Yeah, so we should receive some of the informational packet this week with regards to the Monday meeting with some suggestions or issues from Governor Miller, and then have the facilities committee meeting at 5 o'clock instead of 6. Okay. We'll just need to post that change to the facilities committee meeting. I think we should be good to go.
Basically 2 items, we're gonna have project updates. You can include whether you want that, and then what do we call this other discussion? Financials.
Building budget, yeah, financials, whatever you want to call it.
And that'll be the only 2 things really on the agenda.
Yeah,
I would put the building budget first, and if we have time, we can
Yeah.
give updates, and if not, they push back to because we've got to decide the budget.
Well, the updates, like Danny said, they can be done in a couple of minutes though.
I think if we have some of the information ahead of time, that the discussion may not take as long. They've done a great job of just laying out true facts and numbers. So there's really not a whole lot of guessing on our part other than trying to look at maybe the problem space different than maybe they have. But they've been doing this for quite some time and have a good way to guide us in these construction projects the right way. So it may not take as long as we're projecting, and we could have more time. Adding the additional time is assisting us in making sure that we have full spectrum to see and hear what's going on and make good decisions.
So helpful if they have other projects that are like right a couple steps ahead of ours. Like,
Yeah.
it's so helpful. So
Yeah, they have a pretty good feel of what concrete costs, and labor prices, plumbing fixtures, and all that stuff. So,
Do they seem to be higher than what, because kind of before the project started, everybody thought they were gonna be, everything was gonna be low, and we were gonna save.
Everything's going to be.
I mean, if you look at like if you look at a price of a 2x4 right now, it's $7, and it was like $2.
$42 for a sheet of OSB.
Yeah, unfortunate. Yeah. It's not a good time to build.
Luckily, we won't be using a lot of wood.
You would know, right? Out in the garage. Yeah.
All right. Any other topics there under board items? Okay. The other piece I think is the opportunity, this is Teachers Appreciation Week and how much we appreciate our teachers, staff, and our community support. But focusing on teachers appreciation, just wanted to say thank you for all the hard work that our teachers, administrators, and staff have put in to educate our children this year as a first full year of extreme, unique, stressful environment. Looking forward to the June 1st, where we have an opportunity to say thank you in person to all the teachers, hopefully, from that. So do we, kind of moving forward, executive session, do we need to have an executive session tonight?
You skipped hearing of the public. I don't know if we have any.
We didn't have any, and we didn't vote on anything either. So those are just our kind of the draft of what we're going through at the regular board meeting. But if anybody from the public is there.
crazy have things.
Nope.
All right. So do we have a need to go into executive session?
Can we go in real quick for 1 and 4?
Go in for items number 1 and number 4? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I know that we had one for number 1 as well. So excellent. Do we have a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll move. This is Lida.
Thank you, Lyda, for the motion. Do we have a second?
Equal second.
I didn't hear that.
Julie will second.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Ms. Reese, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Mr. Wanamaker, could you call the vote, please?
Mrs. Mansfield,
Yes.
Mrs. Sebastian,
Yes.
Mrs. Reese,
Yes.
Mr. Elam,
Yes.
Mr. King.
Yes. All right, we will enter into executive session at 6:28 p.m. At this point, there is no thoughts to making any decisions after executive session at this time. Thank you.